Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Mac.
and today we're doing our first impressions of The Great Wall, which is a game from Awakened Realms. It's our only game from Awakened Realms, first and only. We've never played any other ones either, but they are kind of known for putting out pretty big games. Most of them are, I think, story based. This one is kind of their first, I
Euro?
think, kind of first-ish Euro type game, so it's more mechanisms driven, more crunchy, I think, whereas a lot of the other ones are a little more story based.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was excited about this one when I saw that it was worker placement and I saw the really cool miniatures, especially since all the different player colors are actually different colored miniatures. You can get a meeple version as well, which I thought still looked good, but there was just something about these miniatures that really pulled me in, especially knowing it was a worker placement game, because I love worker placement. But I don't think we have too many, I don't, if any, worker placement games that actually use miniatures versus like wooden pieces or meeples.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's Council of Four, but I wouldn't really say that it's
okay.
worker placement. So.
I wouldn't call it worker placement, but yeah, the miniatures do remind me a little bit of the Council 4 ones. But yeah, I wouldn't say that was quite worker placement.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had been waiting to try this one for quite some time. I was a lot more excited about it going in than you were. I think. Just because it looked like a bigger game.
I feel like that's the basis for most of ours, though. Like, it's not something I get excited about.
That's true. That's true. But I feel like a game like maybe Obsession, you were maybe a little more excited about,
Sure.
whereas this one probably didn't have too much that you were
Sure.
like just had a base level of excitement for.
Sure.
But we just played our first game of it last night, um, and yeah, I guess what should we start with the more negative thoughts on it or
He
positive?
thinks I'm gonna rip it apart, but that's really not it at all.
We'll start with what your thoughts were.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I don't, like, it's hard because I don't know how to put my thoughts into words on this one because it's just all out. It's a big game, right? But it's not really any different than any other Euro game in that you're doing things to achieve a goal or, little mini goals in order to meet a bigger goal kind of a thing. So in that way it's very much the same as every other Euro game. Every other one out there. I mean, it has upgraded pieces and bits or whatever, but it's still resource gathering, it's still worker placement, it's still machine building. Like, it all just kind of flows or whatever, and that's great. I think it was just a little bit too. It needed to be more streamlined. And the rule book was not our friend. And when you're learning a game, like, we watched videos and stuff, but it was still like it's like 6 hours to play this game.
I don't know if it was probably 5 hours.
Sure. Okay, 1 hour difference. It was
Well,
still
I mean,
5 hours to play the game. So I mean,
between setting up
Yeah.
like rereading rules ourselves and then playing.
yeah, sure. I mean, we started at, like, let's say 7 o'clock latest. I was upstairs at like midnight.
That's true.
So okay, 5
It was a
hours.
long game. I will say it was. I agree. It was a long game, long play for sure.
And I mean, it only gets faster, I think, the more you play
That's just
it.
it.
So, I mean, I'll give it that because the end game condition doesn't have to be 6 rounds. It can be a lot sooner than that, but I don't know. There were just pieces and rules that need to be streamlined, I think. And then there was just some aspect of this horde piece that didn't really work. Like, I don't think we didn't get a horde out until like the second or third round. Like, we didn't actually defeat a horde. So it was kind of like,
I don't know that you're supposed to necessarily be able to right away. I think you're just supposed to. Probably that first round, I'm guessing you're just supposed to kind of defend against it and potentially get rid of one.
it's nice they give you the barricades at least.
Right. I think that's why they give it to you, because they know you're probably not going
Yeah.
to beat it, so that way you should be able to scrape together 5 resources to maybe block one if needed. But yeah, I would agree that it was definitely a bit long, and there are some things that feel like, based on what my understanding is of how it's played, it could have, just the way the rule book says it versus how it's played, it just was very confusing. And like you said, could streamline that some a bit, because it seems like overall it's a lot simpler of a concept than the rule book really
Yeah.
makes it seem, and then kind of there's just some weird. I think it's mainly the weird wording in the rule book sometimes where they'll say something and then kind of later on in a different section will say something that almost sounds like it contradicts what it said before.
Yeah.
But really, I think what it was trying to say was just it wasn't trying to say what it had said. That was just another. I don't know.
It was like some kind of clarification piece, but it's
Yeah.
like, why didn't you just put that up with that other part about
Yeah.
that specific item that you're calling out in that piece of the rule
Yeah,
book?
I would say the rule book was not amazing.
I feel like we've had other rule books, like, I didn't love the Maracaibo rule book, but that's like one of our
Sure.
favorite games. So, that's one thing, but it's just frustrating when you're learning something. And then there are just a couple of rule pieces that I felt like it's one way for this or it's another way for a different situation, but it's like, can we just flatline? But, the rules in this one I feel like do have to be a certain way because of the way it's played. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think some of the things with the combat can be a little dicey sometimes as to exactly what, how the rules work on what gets like killed off in what situations and things like that. But overall, I really liked it quite a bit, and
Shocking.
I think I would still like it even if it was like. I'm trying to think of what it would realistically get down to. I don't know if a higher player count would make it like even longer. I probably wouldn't ever want to play it 4 or 5 player, or very rarely. But I think 3 players could get down to probably like 2.5 hours, and maybe even faster. I don't know, because it did seem like once we knew what we were doing, some of
Yeah.
that time or some of them would go like a couple of those rounds that we did went by. It seemed like a lot faster.
Yeah.
So I think once you because the biggest parts are just getting through these action cards and then kind of resolving all the conflict stuff.
Yeah.
So once you're kind of clear on that, then I think it'll go a lot faster. So I don't know how much that'll shave off, but I think it could cut it in half, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, once you've realized the optimal path or, some of those pieces, I think that in the case of most Euro games, it gets much simpler or much speedier to take a turn. So,
But I liked I feel like this one's much more interactive than a lot of the Euros that we typically play, because I think a lot of them, you're kind of playing some of it solo in a way.
yeah.
Like you don't really have much interaction, whereas this one, like going on different wall pieces or going out to fight different people on the different battlefields, you're actually you could either help them in a good way,
Yeah.
because there's kind of a semi-co-op aspect to it, because you might want to work together so that you don't take these negative points at the end of the game. So you might do something you might have not otherwise done to help kind of defeat one of the horde people or whatever. And then kind of the actions themselves, and some of them it requires like 3 to 4 to 5 different people or
Yep.
workers there. And so sometimes you'll need help on those, or if you do them all by yourself, you'll also gain dishonor. So you're kind of hoping that other people join you, and you having that aspect to it. I feel like there's not. I can't really think. I don't know if any other worker placement games that it's like, well, I need someone else to come here so that I can actually take this action spot. I need someone to help me, kind of.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect quite a bit about this one.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
And then it kind of feels rewarding too, because it's like most of the time it wasn't like I was ever thinking like, oh, I could just not go there so that they wouldn't activate it, because most of the time it felt like if I did go on there, I was getting something.
Yeah. That
So
you needed.
it wasn't.
too.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't ever like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I guess I don't know if that makes it like playing itself, but you could potentially choose to not work with the people, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, and I can see that there probably is strategy in not being collaborative or whatever, but I think you'd have to be a
Sure.
really advanced player at this game in order
Yeah.
to make that work for the
I
end.
think so, and I think that would be maybe more towards the end of the game, be a little more strategic on that, because I think during the beginning you kind of have to get things going, get things built up, so you
Right.
kind of need as many of those as you can get. But yeah, I thought it brought enough uniqueness to the table for me that it felt different from some of the other Euro games that we have. I thought, but there are a lot of the same sort of things where you're getting resources and then converting them to turn them into troops or turn them into cards or whatever, and then sending those troops out and fighting. Kind of contract fulfillment style.
Contract fulfillment.
But.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a unique. I like how they have the board set out. At least I like the pieces. I mean, I think we got an upgraded version or some piece here, so we have some upgraded bits. But overall, I thought it was a good production value on the game and stuff. And the walls are pretty cool. You got to give them that. The only thing is, I don't think they're gonna fit in the box.
No.
So there's kind of a bummer.
Right.
But otherwise, I felt like it was good. It had some cool aspects that I did enjoy. Overall, I just think, you put games in a category and call them Euro for a reason because they are in that category. So, but I thought it was good. I like the artwork and stuff. I mean, I think my favorite aspect was picking the card to play. And then doing that action. And I think I agree with you, those cards allow you to do an action too, even though it's my turn or type of thing, and I get to decide. So I thought that was unique in that aspect too. So it's just a long game.
I think there's a couple games other games we have to try that you haven't played then yet, because there's similar things to this.
Oh boy.
But yes, yeah, I would probably, after first play, I would probably give it an 8. Just because the main things that knock it are, I think it's still going to be a long game, so I don't think it's going to be one that you're always bringing out. But I think it's unique enough compared to I personally felt like it was unique enough compared to a lot of our worker placement games that I would choose this one as a different feel than a lot of our other ones. Personally.
Sure. I don't know. I'd probably give it a 6. I don't have a lot of interest in playing this one. It's not my style. I mean, I think that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. I mean, it's very rare that a Euro game, I mean, I like certain Euro games, but it's rare that I'm waving the flag for them. I'm not super heavy into Euro games, and so I don't know, with the length of time it just wasn't, I don't think it's going to be enough to draw me back in for a higher rating. So I'll probably play it when you beg me to.
We gotta play it soon because
we cannot forget these rules.
With the rules, I'm like, oh gosh, this is one that I have to play probably at least in the next 2 weeks or so, because otherwise I'm gonna totally forget the rules.
Well, I know at least one person in our gaming group who is probably gonna see this on the shelf and ask to play it at the next board game night for sure. So,
yes, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be real interested. So
I'd agree. So. Yeah, that's our initial thoughts on the Great Wall. Definitely one to check out if you want. But yeah, knowing that it'll probably be a longer game and that the rule book is not great, so it may take some time to play it the first time, which is kind of disappointing because I feel like this is one that if it was available at a convention for someone to play so that they could try it before they went out and got it. The worst part is that first play, I think, is going to be tough.
Yeah.
So it's going to make it it's just going to make it difficult. Unless you're
you
playing with someone. If you can play with someone that knows how to play the game, that will help.
Yeah, you need someone to teach it to you, I think. But, yeah. I think it is a good game, though. If you do like Euro games, I feel like this one is a great game for you to get. If you're at that committed level of collection, to get something
Especially if you
like
want
this.
A little more interaction than some of them.
Then I guess I would recommend it, but I would say if you're on the fence about it, play it first. So.
Yeah, otherwise you can check out our unboxing video on this. It also includes the expansion content as well.
He went all in. He was I don't care if she likes it or not. We're getting it all.
I was hopeful. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.